Good morning everyone. Welcome to the session for computer network. So we are looking at communication and network. Basic idea about computer networking, types of devices as a part of your IBPS PO mains exam preparation. So in the mains examination for PO, in the reasoning section we have what is today known as reasoning and computer aptitude, and in computer aptitude various questions can come based on some of the common concepts in computers. So one of the concepts that can come in the exam based on the frequency of questions that have come earlier in the banking examination is communication network or computer network, right? So the goal for the class today is to understand the basics of computer networks and to know some of the basic terminologies that can come, and we will keep the discussion to the extent of your examination. If you are looking at other exams which are where we have a separate paper on computer science, like the IBPS PO specialist examination, then you have to have more detailed understanding of computer networks. But here we are looking at a general examination, that is a PO examination, where all students can apply whether they are from BA or BCom or BSc or BTech. So only those concepts can come which are supposed to be in common domain, although sometimes they ask questions which ideally a person from a BA or BCom might not be aware of. Right. So what we'll do is give you a brush up on your computer concepts, so that if there is any objective question in the examination from this topic, you can handle those questions. So computer networks will first start by understanding what is a computer network. So basic term, computers which are connected with each other. So we know the meaning of the word network. Network means to be connected, right? So if you take certain computers in an office, we want to suppose there are, let's say, 10 to 12 desktop computers in an office, right? And suppose they are not connected to each other, and on each desktop a person is working and he wants to transfer a file from a particular desktop to the other desktop. How will you do that? Maybe you'll have to copy the file in a USB drive or a floppy drive. In the past they used to copy in a floppy drive, and then they would pass on the floppy drive or the USB drive to the other person, who can then insert the drive into their computer and then copy the file. This would be very time taking and counterproductive. Also lots of other problems are there in using things like a USB drive or a floppy drive. The better solution would be to make sure that the computers are connected to each other. So let's see, there are these 6 computers here that are connected to each other, where computers can interact. They can send files from one computer to any of the other computers in the system. Those computers which have been connected internally, that would make it easier for them to share information, to share files, to work on a common source file, right? And to also communicate. When you see, I discussed earlier, when internet started as ARPANET, basically what was an ARPANET? It was a connected, you can say, a system of computers connected with each other, right? And that is what we mean by a computer network. It's a network is used to mean interconnected collection of autonomous computers. Stand-alone computers are there and they have been connected together, then they are said to be a computer network, and two computers are said to be interconnected. Just now, as I have explained to you, if they are able to exchange information. What is the main purpose of connecting computers? To exchange information, particularly very important and useful for an office, a company where people are working and there are so many systems and they want to exchange information. Right? Just take for example that there is a printer in the office and there are 10 to 12 desktop and people are working on each of the desktop, and if you want to take a print out, every time you copy a file in a drive and then go to the computer that is connected to the printer and then put the drive and take a print out, that will be again very time taking and it will not be the best idea. So what would be the best idea? That the printer can also be a part of the network computers, so that any user can access the printer. They can send a print request and the print request will be in a spool, in a kind of a queue, and once the printer is free, whatever print request you have made can be printed. Alright, so that's the main purpose of a computer network, to ensure that there is an exchange facility for exchange of information and sharing of the other hardware like printer and scanners in an office. Now we'll see what are different types of networks. So computer networks जो है उनके कितने types होते हैं, the main types क्या है? I'm sure you must have heard the words like LAN, right, or WAN. So we'll see there are 3 basic types of computer networks. One is a local area network, LAN. This I am sure you must have seen when you can say connecting your desktop to a modem. Also sometimes you will see that the computer is not connected to a LAN. This message will come when it is not getting internet connection, LAN connection available or LAN connection not available. So you have to, LAN is the main way of connecting computers, local area network, right? And then we have wide area network, that is WAN, wide area network, and then the third one is metropolitan area network. So what we will do is we will try to understand these three types of networks and what are their importance and significance with respect to computer network topics. So first let us look at the LAN network. What is LAN? So you will say LAN basically means, you see these are called workstations. They are computers which are workstations in an office, and there is a central server, and all of these computers are connected to the central server, whereby you can access they can access each other and they can share information with each of the computer. Now every computer might not have access to the with every other computer, although they can share what amount of access, like what are the permissions that a computer has, that can change from one computer to the next one, but the administrator will have access to all the unlimited access to all the computers. So this is what basically a LAN is. Where it is used, normally it is used in offices, like there is one building, in one building there are, let's say, hundreds of computers. All of these computers are connected to each other through the Ethernet port or using the LAN card. Then we can say that these computers are a LAN, a local area network. So basically used in a single office building or campus. Clear? Single office building or campus. Even if in office there are 2-3 different buildings, and there are computers in each of the buildings and they are connected to each other, then also we can call it a LAN. It's a local area network. Clear? Now when we increase the size of LAN, let's say there, for example, there's a company having offices in multiple cities in India, and they want to create an interconnection of computers across all these cities in which they have offices, so that exchange of information will happen between all of these computers. Then that is what is called a WAN, that is a wide area network. So you can see here, suppose these are computers in one city, these are computers in some other city, and these are computers in some other city, and they are all connected through, they are all interconnected. This is what is called a wide area network. You can think of it like this, that internet is one of the best examples of a wide area network, where computers are connected across the globe, right? So internet is an example of a wide area network. Of example, let's say the computers that are used in the railway department. So when you go to a railway station and you want to book a ticket, you can give your details and they will enter your details in a computer and print a ticket. Now to know that that seat that they are booking for you is not already booked to someone, they must have information sharing, that they know that this seat is still empty, this is unreserved, and it can be reserved for you. So all these railway stations across India are connected to each other, right? So that's also an example of a wide area network. Banking is also an example of wide area network. So you can see wide area network is vast area, covers vast area, whereas local area network is only contained inside a building or a campus in which some buildings are there. Okay? That is what is called as a local area network, as the name itself suggests to you, that's local. And wide area network is wider, and it can be as wide as having computers connected across countries also. For example, the computers connected through internet also is an example of a wide area network. Now, in between LAN and wide area network comes the metropolitan area network. So this MAN, which stands for metropolitan area network, as you can see here, suppose there is a central office headquarter in a city like Bangalore, and then in the same city, it's a very large city, there's a warehouse, there's a factory, and there's a regional branch office, and the distance is like 160 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers. So in a small area, the metropolitan area, a big city, if the offices are connected, the different computers in different locations are connected to each other, then we call it a metropolitan area network. Example could be the branches of a company in a city. If they are connected to each other, that would create a metropolitan area network. Clear? So you should have complete understanding of these basic terminologies. This is not advanced concept. यानी कि आपने बीटेक किया है कंप्यूटर साइंस में, या BCA किया है, या MCA किया है, तभी आपको ये जानकारी होगी, ऐसी बात नहीं है. This is a common concept that you can learn right in your school days. Right? What are the different types of computer networks? That's local area network. Then we have the wide area network and the metropolitan area network, and also to understand उनके बीच में difference क्या है, what are the differences between, and what kind of area do these three cover? Which three? LAN, WAN and MAN. इनके full form based questions भी आ सकते हैं. What is the full form of MAN? So the answer would be metropolitan area network. WAN would be wide area network and LAN is local area network. ठीक है, तो ये बात हो गई क्लियर. नेक्स्ट हम देखते हैं नाउ नेटवर्क डिवाइसेस. जब आप कंप्यूटर को कनेक्ट करते हैं तो उनके लिए कुछ डिवाइस चाहिए होगा. देयर आर सम hardware required for connecting computers, and what type of hardwares are there? Again, I'm talking about something that is common knowledge. I'm not talking about something that you only learn when you do your BTech in computer science, या आपने computer science में डिग्री की है तभी आपको ये जानकारी हो, ऐसी ज़रूरत नहीं है. Right? What I'm going to discuss today is something that is common knowledge, and most of those who have basic understanding of computers should be aware of these things. So let's start with the first one, LAN card. When you want to connect computers, there has to be a physical connection using a cable. So there are two computers that are connected to a cable. Now we can have wireless LAN also. Okay, so today we have wireless LAN, but even for wireless LAN we need a LAN card which can receive signals wirelessly. So आपको जब कंप्यूटर्स कनेक्ट करने हैं तो सबसे पहले आपको चाहिए LAN कार्ड. ठीक है, जो कि आपके कंप्यूटर्स में एक मदरबोर्ड होता है, उस मदरबोर्ड में एक PCI स्लॉट होता है, उस PCI स्लॉट में हम LAN कार्ड इंसर्ट करते हैं. क्लियर? LAN card is also called as network interface card or Ethernet card or a network adapter. Clear? So दिखता कुछ इस तरह से है जी. यहाँ पे वायर आपने देखा होगा, wire will get inserted here, and then through this wire you can connect a computer, and this LAN card will then interact with your motherboard, and through the motherboard the operating system will interact with the LAN card, and that is how you are able to connect. Right? आपको LAN driver भी install करना पड़ेगा if you want to use the LAN card. So LAN card क्या है? LAN card are network adapters, or we can call them as Ethernet cards, right? Or network interface cards, NIC. LAN cards, network adapters are the building blocks of a computer network. So now all of these, let's say 10 computers are there in an office, all of them have a LAN card and a driver has been installed in them. What is a driver? Driver is a system software, you see. It's a part of an operating system also. Sometimes we have to additionally install a driver in an operating system like Windows. If you talk about an operating system like Linux, then all drivers are a part of the operating system itself, whereas Windows is more flexible, so it allows you to install drivers additionally. So based on the LAN card which you have, either the driver will be there already in the operating system which you install. If it is not there, then you can download the driver from the internet, and or you can there will be a CD that comes along with the LAN card. You can install that driver. A driver is a system software that lets the operating system access the hardware. Clear? So now all the 10 computers in the office have a LAN card with a driver installed, and then we use the LAN cables. आपने देखा होगा एक वाइट कलर का एक केबल आता है. Clear? वो LAN cables से भी connect the systems, right? And once the systems are connected through a LAN cable, now we can exchange information from them, between them, among them. Even if internet is not there, still we can exchange information if the computers have been connected through a LAN card, right? So LAN card से ही start होता है LAN का setup करना. मतलब local area network को setup करने के लिए सबसे पहले क्या जरूरत है? LAN card की. ठीक है? No computers can communicate without a properly installed and configured LAN card. Every LAN card is provided with a unique IP address. IP का फुल फॉर्म क्या है? IP इज इंटरनेट प्रोटोकॉल. सो हर कंप्यूटर के लिए एक IP एड्रेस होता है, एक सबनेट मास्क होता है, एक गेटवे होता है और DNS होता है. Now if you want to see for your computer what is the IP address, what is the subnet mask, what is the gateway and what is the DNS, what you will do is you will go and click on the start button of your computer, and once you click on the start button, and then you can in the run, you can go to run. Either you can type directly in Windows 7 and upwards in the search bar which is there, or you can go to the accessories and you can go to run. In run you can type command cmd and it will open a command prompt, a black screen. This I have shown you earlier also in one of my videos, how to open the command prompt. In the command prompt, when you type ipconfig, that is a short form of IP configuration, you will get all of these details. You will get to know what is the IP address of your system, what is the subnet mask, what is gateway and DNS. So explain all of these things in detail is not in the scope of this particular class. Okay. IP address normally क्या होता है आपको, you'll see something like this, 124.0.0.1. This is how IP address looks like. Clear? So 8-bit 32-bit IP address use करते हैं हम लोग. 32-bit IP address is there, and each of these is an 8-bit IP address. So these are 8 bits. 8 bits. This 0 is also 8-bit. So if you add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, that's total of 32-bit IP address is used across the world. आप कोई भी कंप्यूटर यूज करिए उसमें जो IP address होगा वो 32-bit ही होगा. Clear? And IP addresses के भी types होते हैं, type A, type B, type C, type D, type E. Based on from which range to which range you are going. For example, from 0.0.0.0 up to 126, right? Dot 255 is what is called as class A or type A IP address. So ये सब जो है थोड़ा advanced level of understanding है regarding computer networks. What is type A, type B, type C, and so forth, right? But going from 0 to 126, 127 नहीं ले रहे हम लोग, क्योंकि 127 जो है 127 is what is also called, it is a reserved IP address. किसी भी कंप्यूटर का IP address नहीं हो सकता है 127. तो 127 जो होता है वो नॉर्मली हम लोग यूज़ करते हैं एज लोकल होस्ट. अगर आप कोई वेबसाइट बना रहे हो और इफ यू वांट टू टेस्ट द वेबसाइट and you want to use your computer itself as a host, a server and a host, then you will use this local host 127.0.0.0 or 001 depending upon how you are going to create. So ये सब जो है थोड़ा advanced level पे है. IP का full form बता दिया मैंने आपको. IP is the internet protocol. और IP address कितने bit का होता है? 32 bit का होता है. Class A, Class B, Class C, या उसको हम बोल सकते हैं Type A, Type B, Type C. Different types of IP addresses are there. इनके बारे में जानकारी चाहिए तो you can go and study a little bit more about types of IP address. Okay. All right. Next we'll look at what is a hub. तो अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था कि suppose there are 10 computers in an office and each of these computers is has a LAN card installed in it, right? Because बिना इसके we cannot have a local area network. Now we have to connect these computers to each other. How do we connect them? Right? So we use LAN cables, but even while using LAN cables, how do we connect them? क्या होता है? We buy a hardware which is called a hub. उस hub में क्या होता है? We'll have a port coming into. There will be ports in that hub. We'll take a LAN cable from one computer, put it inside a hub. So all the computers are now connected to the hub using a LAN cable. तो ऐसे होता है normally कि जब information जाना होता है, when we have to use information from a computer, we send it, right? That information goes to the hub, and from the hub it goes to all of the different computers connected, right? But the package which you have sent has the IP address of a particular LAN card. So whichever computer has that IP address will only be able to access the information, but the information will be shared to everyone. Broadcast करता है ये, unicast नहीं हो रहा है, ये broadcast हो रहा है. Whatever information comes into the hub goes to all of the computers connected in a particular office space. अगर एक ऑफिस में ज़्यादा नहीं 8-10 computers 20 computers है तो hub is the best idea, but suppose in an office there are thousands of computers. Now if the information comes into the hub and goes to all the 1,000 computers, that's again not a very optimum way of using your hardware and the capacity of your system. तो वहाँ पे hub नहीं, हम लोग कुछ और यूज़ करेंगे and that we'll see later in this discussion. First let's understand hub. तो यहाँ पे देखो क्या किया है, there are 4 computers, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and there's a printer also, and all of these have been connected to a hub. Clear? So if I send information from this computer to the hub, it will go to all of the computers and devices connected in the system, and whichever device has the IP address that is mentioned in the package here will be able to access it. So it's a very simple device, very easy to use. The central connecting device in a computer network is known as a hub, and there are two types of hub, active hub or passive hub. Every computer is directly connected with the hub. When data packets arrive at a hub, जिसमें मैंने बताया आपको अभी, it broadcasts them to all the LAN cards. This is very important. ये broadcast करता है in the network, and destined recipient जो destination है picks them and all other computers discard them. तो जिस कंप्यूटर का IP एड्रेस उस मैसेज में है वो कंप्यूटर्स उसको एक्सेस करेगा. दैट कंप्यूटर विल पिक द इंफॉर्मेशन, others will discard because other computers will instantly know, because of the LAN card being able to understand that this is not for me. Clear? They will discard that information, and only the LAN card which requires which understands that this message is intended for it will take the message and pass it on to your operating system through which you can access the information. तो ये है hub. Now next होता है कि हम switch होता है. Switches are intelligent devices, connecting devices. जैसे hub में क्या है कि when the message comes to the hub, it goes to all the computers. If you don't want that, if you want to send the message to only one computer for which that particular message was intended, right? जिस कंप्यूटर में वो मैसेज को जाना चाहिए सिर्फ उसमें भेजेंगे, तो वी हैव टू यूज अ स्विच. तो यहाँ पे एक देखिए स्विच है एंड एक वर्क ग्रुप कंप्यूटर्स यहाँ पे हब से है. सो नंबर ऑफ हब्स कैन बी कनेक्टेड टू अ स्विच ऑल्सो. और हब, हर हब का भी अपना एक एड्रेस होगा. क्लियर? सो एक प्रिंटर सर्वर है, एक मेन फाइल सर्वर है, एक हाई पावर सीपीयू है. सो सबको हमने एक स्विच से जोड़ दिया है. So what does a switch do? It's an intelligent device that maps the IP address with the machine address of the LAN card. MAC address is nothing but machine address. Unlike the switch hubs, a switch does not broadcast. It does not broadcast. You can see here, it does not broadcast the data to all computers. It sends the data packets only to the destined or the destination computer. ये main difference हो गया एक switch में और hub में. Clear? Or a number of hubs can be then connected to a switch. So for example, in office there are different rooms, and let's say in one room there are 20 computers, in the room 20. So all of these rooms have a hub through which the computers are connected, and then all these hubs can be then connected to a switch. Yes, the switch is on off करते हैं. So when a message goes to the switch, it knows to which hub this message has to go to. So it will only go to that particular hub, and from that hub it will go to then the system, the required system. Okay. तो ये हो गया an explanation of what is a switch. Next comes router. So router क्या है? It's normally used for a router works at the network layer, right? So if you see hub works at the physical layer and router works at the network layer. So यहाँ पे IP addresses और IP packets भी form होते हैं. So that is one thing that you have to understand. So for example, here we have some systems which have been connected through a switch. And switch has connected to a server, and server is connected to a router, and the router is connected to the internet. Clear? So mainly for internet we use a router. If we only want to connect the systems, we don't need a router. So router is a communication device that is used to connect two logically and physically different networks, two LANs, two WANs and a LAN with a MAN. So two logically and physically different networks को connect करने के लिए हम लोग router use करते हैं. What is the main function of a router? Is the sorting and distribution of data packets to the destination based on the IP addresses. Okay, so ये जो main function हो गया of a router. Clear? So router normally हम लोग use करते हैं because वो internet से जो connect करना है, जो WAN में या multiple locations में जो systems को connect करना है, then we definitely have to use a router. इसको जो भी message आता है एक router में, whatever messages come, उस router will read the package and see the source IP address, the destination IP address, clear, and then send the package to the destination IP address. That is the function of a router. Next comes modem. So modem is a short form of modulation and demodulation. So सबसे पहले तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए modem कैसे बना है. दो वर्ड से बना है, modulation, मॉड्यूलेटर और डीमॉड्यूलेटर ही बोल सकते हैं. सो व्हाट इट डज इज मॉड्यूलेशन करता है और डीमॉड्यूलेशन करता है. सो फ्रॉम दीज टू थिंग्स वी गेट द वर्ड मोडेम, MODEM, a modulator, demodulator. So we can also say it's a modulator, demodulator. So it's a very important device used for connecting a computer to the internet from where it's getting access through an internet service provider. Suppose you have purchased an internet package from BSNL or Airtel or something, then the data will be sent through analog signals using the telephone connection, right? Now the analog signal will go into the modem, and then the modem will convert this into digital signal and send it to your computer. Okay, so modem में हम टेलीफोन केबल डालते हैं और फिर modem को कनेक्ट कर देते हैं राउटर से और राउटर को कनेक्ट कर देते हैं कंप्यूटर से. तो ऐसे होता है modem और राउटर दोनों यूज होता है. तो nowadays you see both are there. जब डायल अप नेटवर्क होता था, when we used to actually physically dial up a connection, then only a modem was used. Now let's see here. So there's a phone line splitter, because you want to use the phone line and the internet at the same time. So the connection that has come from your internet service provider, that phone line can be split. One line can go into your phone and the other line will go into the modem. From the modem we have an Ethernet cable that goes into your system, and that is how you are able to access the computer. So this is the purpose of a modem. The communication device that is used to provide the connectivity with the internet. Modem works in two ways: modulation and demodulation. It converts the digital data into the analog and analog to digital. So main काम क्या है modem का? Convert digital into analog and convert analog into digital. This is what is called as modulation and demodulation. Yes, that's a very important device that without which you cannot connect to the internet. That is called a modem. Okay. Now we can connect the modem to a router, a wireless router, and that wireless router can then be connected to your computer if it has a wireless LAN card inserted to it. For example, we can have a wireless USB LAN card inserted into computer, or there can be an installed wireless card in your laptop or smartphone through which you can access the internet. Alright, so that's about your modem. Next, let's see. There are two types of modems. One is ADSL, that is asymmetric digital subscriber line. Asymmetric. So A stands for asymmetric. Then we have digital. D is digital subscriber line. That's the full form of ADSL. And then we have digital subscriber line, a DSL modem. So if you go and see in your home computer, you will see that sometimes in the modem that you have, right, you see this written ADSL, sometimes it's written DSL. So what is the meaning of these two? What is the difference between ADSL and DSL? Clear? So understand this. In a DSL, download and upload speed is same, right? Whereas in ADSL, the upload and download speed is not same. That is the main difference between ADSL and DSL modems. Now next we'll look at this thing. So how this entire thing works. The internet, जैसे मैंने बताया था आपको अभी, internet comes from the internet service provider. Through phone lines you get the connection to your modem. From the modem you connect the router. You can see this is a wireless router. These two antennas are there. And from the router you can connect wirelessly to a number of computers. You can use your phone, you can use the other computers in your home. So that's a router. But internet always interacts with the modem interacts with the router, and the router interacts with other devices that you have in your home or in the office. Clear? Now that is how its entire thing works. So I hope you have understood now how this actually works, and I'm sure you must have seen a modem and router if you're using your broadband connection in your home or office. Now let's see here TCP IP model and OSI model. Now this is one concept that is slightly beyond the basic knowledge of computer science. So those who have studied computer network or computer networking as a part of the BSc computer science, BCA, MCA or the BTech would have seen these two things. There is something called as open system interface model, which contains of 7 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the layer number 1 is called physical layer. Layer number 2 is your data link layer, okay, and layer number 3 is the network layer. Layer 4 is the transport layer. Layer 5 is session layer. Layer 6 is presentation, and layer 7 is application. Clear? Now let's try to understand how it actually works in a peer-to-peer system. Suppose let's take an example of you using the internet. You want to use your Google Chrome browser to access a website. So what you do first is you go to the application layer, and this is where your browser and everything else will be there. So you go to your browser and you type the address of a particular website. That website, let's say you were typing there the URL of a website like google.com. This is where you are interacting. So you are interacting with the application. What is a browser? Browser is an application software. So you go and you type browser is an application software. So you are typing there google.com, and you know this is HTTP. So we are not typing here, but this is HTTP dot and slash and then you type, right? That means that this is working on the hypertext transfer protocol. So what protocol is being used here? Hypertext. In a very simple way I am explaining to you, so that even if you are not from a computer background, these things you should know. Hypertext transfer protocol. All the you can say interaction in the internet happens through the hypertext transfer protocol. So what you have typed here will then go to the presentation layer, where the hypertext transfer protocol is there, HTTP is there. So this using this protocol, the presentation layer will understand how to send this data, what is the destination, what is the IP address of google.com, everything. That's all work in the presentation layer. To send information, the presentation layer, once we know that data is being sent through hypertext transfer protocol, we have to open a port number. So what is the port number we'll open? We'll open port number 80, because different protocols work on different port numbers. Like file transfer protocol works on port number 50. So different protocols use different port numbers. So session, starting a session and closing a session is what this session layer will do. It will open a port, close a port for the purpose of communication. So from the port number 80, we will send the information to the transport layer. The transport layer will use the TCP, transmission control protocol, right? The transmission control protocol will be used here. Another protocol which works in the transport layer is the UDP, user datagram protocol. Now transmission control protocol will then put the data, divide the data into number of packets, because एक साथ पूरा data नहीं भेज सकते ना, we can't send the entire data together. So data that you are typing or you want to send, which comes to the transport layer, will be divided into number of packets, and in that packet the source address, destination address, all these things will be added and then sent to the network layer, where the IP address will be working. Clear? The source IP address and destination IP address will be added here, and then it will go to the data link layer, where your Ethernet will be working, and then from the data link layer it will go to the physical layer, actual physical connection with a router or a modem, you know, or a coaxial cable, that is actually working in the physical layer. And from physical layer it will go to the required system, and from there it will again reach from physical layer, it will go back to data link layer. From data link layer then it will travel up towards the network layer. From network layer it will travel up to the transport layer. The transport layer will open a port, and then communication will go into the presentation layer. The presentation will then send back the communication to you who are working in the application layer, and that website will be then displayed in your browser. So ऐसे होता है normally communication in using the open system interface model. एक basic idea मैंने आपको दे दिया यहाँ पे. और क्या है, एक और मॉडल होता है कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क में, TCP IP स्टैक बोलते हैं इसको. TCP IP स्टैक में क्या होता है, जो लेयर 2 और लेयर 1 होता है ऑफ दी OSI मॉडल, उनको कंबाइन करके वी कॉल इट एज नेटवर्क एक्सेस लेयर. Layer 3 is the network layer of OSI model, is called the internet layer of the transmission control protocol and inter-protocol TCP IP stack. Then the layer 4, which is called transport in OSI model, is also called transport in the TCP IP model. And then again layer 7, 6 and 5, the application, presentation and session layer of the OSI model are called as the application layer of the TCP IP model. इसमें थोड़े कम क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं क्योंकि ये थोड़ा एक कॉन्सेप्ट है विच इज़ नॉट नोन टू कॉमन स्टूडेंट फ्रॉम BA or BCom or BBA and BBM and all of these other areas in which computer science is not one of the papers in your graduation, and the concept of OSI model and TCP IP, all of these things are not a part of your schooling syllabus, but some of these things like HTTP and FTP, full form of HTTP, full form of IP, these things can be asked, or basically just a simple question based on how many layers are there in the OSI model, how many layers are there in the TCP IP model. These basic questions can come in your examination. So I have covered the topic of computer networks for you from the point of view of your IBPS PO examination, what can come in the examination. And you see, in the examination what we believe maximum will come is questions from binary algebra, question converting from decimal to binary, binary to decimal, hexadecimals, logic gates, and this I have explained to you earlier also in the class which I took for Boolean algebra, binary based system and logic gates. But most questions will come from there, and then some random questions from internet, some questions from database management system can come. So you see, in computer networks I said maximum one question, that to a very simple question can come if at all it comes, but we should not leave anything untouched when you are preparing for your examination. That's why we are covering every topic for you. So now the time for the class practice pack, in which you have 10 questions from this topic. Those who have passport access will start solving the question, and the question which you will get wrong I will be discussing in my later video sessions. Alright, so best of luck to you for your examination, and thank you for watching the video.